Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're taking a close look at a fascinating entrepreneur from Nigeria, Dr. Wole Kajola.
Yeah, really interesting guy.
And what makes him so interesting is he's found success in not just one, but two very different fields,
That's right.
real estate and hospitality.
Not an obvious symbol, right?
Not at all. But when you look at the material we have, articles, excerpts, even some stuff written by Dr. Kajola himself.
It starts to make sense how he approaches business and success.
Well, let's jump right into it. One of the first things that really stood out to me was how much he emphasizes integrity.
Oh yeah, it's not just lip service either. It's foundational for him.
I mean, it's woven into everything he does, you can tell.
And it's interesting how he connects it back to his idea of success. He talks about his parents' advice, to get to the top, but he doesn't see that as winning at all costs.
Exactly.
It's about building something lasting, something you can be proud of.
And for him, that starts with integrity, which is especially interesting when you think about the field he's in, real estate.
Yeah, not exactly known for being the most ethical industry all the time.
Right. But Dr. Kajola saw that as an opportunity. He built his reputation on honesty and transparency, earning trust in a market where that's often missing.
You could almost say it's counterintuitive. You'd think cutting corners would get you ahead faster, but he's proven the opposite.
It's like that old saying, slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly. And that philosophy clearly extends to his hotel chain, Whitefield Hotels. Customer satisfaction is king there.
And that's actually a great segue. How he moved from real estate into hospitality is fascinating.
Diversification, right. Classic way to manage risk.
Yeah, but not without its own set of challenges.
Absolutely. So what did you find most interesting about his approach?
Well, he saw a gap in the hospitality market in Core Estate. But he didn't just jump in headfirst. He really took the time to learn the ropes.
Makes sense. It's a whole different ballgame.
Oh, absolutely. He talks about the learning curve, the new skills he had to master. And he stresses the importance of having a strong team around him, people with expertise he might not have.
Recognizing your own limitations, surrounding yourself with people who fill those gaps.
Crucial, especially when you're venturing into new territory like that.
Couldn't agree more.
And what I found really interesting was how his attention to detail, something he's always emphasized in real estate, became a defining feature of Whitefield Hotels.
He really believes in sweating the small stuff.
Oh yeah, but it's not just about making things look pretty. It's about anticipating the guest's needs, making sure everything is functional and comfortable.
Creating an experience, not just a place to stay.
Exactly, and there's a great example of this. They got feedback that guests were missing local cuisine on the menu.
Interesting.
So they actually took that feedback to heart and started incorporating local dishes.
Wow, that's really going the extra mile.
So they're really listening. That level of attention, I think, is a big part of why he's successful in both fields.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a world where everything's so fast-paced, maybe slowing down and paying attention to the details is the real competitive advantage.
Powerful thought. But let's shift gears a bit and address the elephant in the room.
The economic downturn.
Exactly. Nigeria has been hit pretty hard, especially the real estate sector. Inflation, rising material costs. It's a tough environment.
A real test of resilience.
And that's what's so remarkable about Dr. Kajola. He's not shying away from the challenges. He's tackling them head on.
What impressed you most about how he's dealing with it?
He's embracing innovation, for one. He's a big proponent of modular construction, not just because it's more affordable, but also because it's more sustainable.
Smart. Tackling two problems at once.
Right. He's not just reacting to the crisis, he's using it as a chance to push the industry forward. He's even advocating for creative financing options like joint ventures and crowdfunding.
Opening up opportunities for others to get involved.
Exactly. And it all seems to stem from this never settle mindset he talks about.
More than just a catchy phrase.
Oh, absolutely. It's core to who he is, how he approaches everything. He's always pushing boundaries, looking for a better way.
And it goes all the way back to his upbringing. Remember what his parents told him, get to the top? That's not about complacency. It's about constant striving.
Always reaching for more, challenging yourself.
It's inspiring, isn't it? It makes you think about your own goals, whether you're truly pushing yourself or settling.
Really makes you think. And another theme that runs through everything is his commitment to customer satisfaction.
Yeah, he really emphasizes that.
It's not just about profit for him. It's about creating a positive experience for his clients and guests. Think back to that example with the local cuisine at Whitefield Hotels.
Right, really taking customer feedback to heart.
It's like he's saying, forget the hard sell, build a relationship, understand what people truly want, and then deliver on that.
And that's where I think we see all these principles coming together. Integrity, that customer-centric approach, and the never settle mindset, they all feed into each other.
It's not just about building a business, it's about building something meaningful, something with a positive impact.
That's a great point. And that brings us to his vision for the future of real estate in Nigeria. But before we jump into that, what's resonating with you so far? What's really standing out as insightful or thought-provoking?
It's funny you should mention that because one thing that struck me is how Dr. Kajola views design.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not just about aesthetics for him, it's a really crucial part of delivering value for money.
Which, by the way, is something that comes up again and again in everything we've read about him.
Right, like it's a core principle.
Totally. He really hammers home the point that value for money doesn't just mean cheap. It's about getting more than you expect, making sure every naira you spend is worth it.
And he sees design as central to that, at least in hospitality. At Whitefield Hotels, he talks about how much thought goes into planning the spaces.
To maximize comfort.
Yeah, both beauty and functionality. He wants to create an atmosphere of luxury, but without being wasteful or extravagant.
It's that attention to detail again, right?
Absolutely. But it goes beyond just the physical space, too. He talks about service innovations as well, like empowering his staff to be proactive, to anticipate what guests might need.
To go above and beyond.
Exactly. And it works, too. Remember how they changed the menu based on that feedback about local cuisine?
Yeah, that was a great example of his approach in action.
It makes you think about the times when you've felt really valued as a customer.
Definitely.
It's not always the big gestures, you know. Often it's the little things, the personalized touches that make the biggest impact.
They can turn a simple transaction into something more meaningful.
And that's something Dr. Kajola really gets. He applies that same philosophy in his real estate dealings, too. He talks about the importance of building long-term relationships with clients, really understanding their needs.
Guiding them through the process.
Exactly. Building trust, being transparent, because a satisfied client is worth more than any quick deal.
Which, again, brings us back to that core value of integrity.
It all ties together, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But we've talked a lot about how Dr. Kajola approaches business. What about the challenges? I mean, we touched on the economic situation in Nigeria.
Yeah, how is he navigating all of that?
Well, what's so interesting is that he doesn't just react to the problems. He sees them as opportunities to innovate.
Like with modular construction?
Yeah. Not only does it help with rising costs, it's also way more sustainable.
And that's a big deal for him. We know that. He's not just trying to weather the storm. He's positioning his businesses for the future.
Where sustainability is going to be key.
And don't forget his push for creative financing options. He knows access to capital can be a huge barrier, so he's actively promoting alternatives.
Like we said, opening doors for others to participate.
It's impressive, right? He's not just focused on his own success. He wants the whole sector to succeed.
A true leader.
Speaking of the future, what about his vision for real estate specifically? How does he see the industry evolving?
He seems very optimistic, actually.
Yeah, despite all the current challenges, he sees huge potential in the Nigerian market.
Growing population, increasing urbanization, those are major factors.
Exactly. There's a lot of demand. And Dr. Kajola is thinking about how to meet that demand in new and innovative ways. He's really interested in the role technology can play.
Like with smart homes and things like that.
Right. He's even talking about blockchain-based transactions, incorporating all these innovations into new developments.
Creating spaces that are more than just bricks and mortar.
And of course, sustainability is non-negotiable for him.
Like we said, it's not just talk. He's actually doing it.
He also sees a growing need for these mixed-use developments, combining residential, commercial, and recreational spaces.
Creating real communities.
Places where people can live, work, and play. And through it all, there's this sense of purpose, a desire to leave a lasting impact.
It's about building a legacy.
More than just structures, right? It's about improving people's lives, contributing to the growth of communities.
He's a real visionary.
And all of it is underpinned by that commitment to integrity, doing things the right way.
Not just chasing success, but earning it.
It's pretty inspiring, honestly. And it makes me wonder, what else can we learn about how he leads, how he creates that culture of excellence? What are your thoughts? It's really interesting how you brought up leadership because as we learn more about Dr. Kajola, it's obvious that how he leads is a big part of his success.
Yeah, I mean, you can have the greatest vision in the world, but if you can't get people on board, if you can't inspire them, it's not going to go anywhere.
And he really seems to get that. He talks a lot about fostering this sense of ownership, encouraging his team to actually contribute ideas.
That's pretty rare, actually.
Yeah, a lot of leaders, especially in that part of the world, are very top-down, my way or the highway kind of approach.
It's all about control, right?
Exactly. But Dr. Kajola is different. He actually says that some of his best ideas have come from unexpected places, people who aren't necessarily in senior positions, but who have a fresh perspective.
He's willing to listen, to be challenged.
Absolutely. And that commitment to mentorship, it goes beyond his own companies, too.
How so?
Well, he's really passionate about supporting the next generation of real estate professionals, sharing his knowledge and experience, helping them navigate the industry.
That's amazing.
It's like he believes that a rising tide lifts all boats. He's not just focused on his own success, he wants the whole sector to thrive.
That's true leadership, thinking beyond yourself.
And it all comes back to that advice from his parents to get to the top. But for Dr. Kajola, reaching the top isn't about power or welcome to another deep dive. This time we're taking a close look at a fascinating entrepreneur from Nigeria, Dr. Wole Kajola.
Yeah, really interesting guy.
And what makes him so interesting is he's found success in not just one, but two very different fields.
That's right.
Real estate and hospitality.
Not an obvious symbol, right?
Not at all. But when you look at the material we have, articles, excerpts, even some stuff written by Dr. Kajola himself.
It starts to make sense how he approaches business and success.
Well, let's jump right into it. One of the first things that really stood out to me was how much he emphasizes integrity.
Oh yeah, it's not just lip service either. It's foundational for him.
I mean, it's woven into everything he does, you can tell.
And it's interesting how he connects it back to his idea of success. He talks about his parents' advice, to get to the top, but he doesn't see that as winning at all costs.
Exactly.
It's about building something lasting, something you can be proud of.
And for him, that starts with integrity, which is especially interesting when you think about the field he's in, real estate.
Yeah, not exactly known for being the most ethical industry all the time.
Right. But Dr. Kajola saw that as an opportunity. He built his reputation on honesty and transparency, earning trust in a market where that's often missing.
You could almost say it's counterintuitive. You'd think cutting corners would get you ahead faster, but he's proven the opposite.
It's like that old saying, slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly. And that